something that interests us very much about ourselves, about our species, Homo sapiens, to understand how our species, from all the different animals on the planet, came to dominate, to control planet Earth, which was not obvious at all. If you go back 70,000 years ago, you find that the planet is populated by many different kinds of humans, many species of humans. Homo sapiens was just one of them. And all these humans, the most important thing to know about them is that they were unimportant creatures. 70,000 years ago, there were less than 1 million humans of all species together, and their impact on the ecosystem was minimal, like that of gorillas today, far less than that, say, of jellyfish or bumblebees. And as you fast forward to today, you find that there is only one human species left, our species, Homo sapiens, but we completely dominate this planet. We basically own this planet. And the big question is, how did we do it? How did we conquer Earth? And when this question is raised, the question of our secret of success, people usually turn to the individual level. They want to believe, they want to feel that there is something special about me personally, that I am so much superior to a chimpanzee or to a baboon or to a dog or to an elephant or anything else. And this is why things like me, humans, this is why they control the planet. But the fact is that on the individual level, we are not so unique, we are not so smart, we are not so powerful. If you put me and the chimpanzee on a lone island together and we had to struggle for survival, I would definitely put my bets on the chimpanzee, not on myself. And it is not something special about myself. I think it's true about most people, that if you put them alone with the chimpanzee, that's the end. I mean, the chimpanzee will definitely win over. So it's not an individual level. It's not something about my body. It's not something inside my brain. It's something else. It's something outside. It's actually something on the collective level. If you put 1,000 chimpanzees and 1,000 humans on a lone island, then the humans will win quite easily. For the simple reason that 1,000 chimpanzees can never cooperate effectively. This is the real secret of success of Homo sapiens, the ability to cooperate in large numbers and flexibly. Now, there are other animals that can cooperate effectively in large numbers. The social insects, ants and bees, are the obvious example. However, ants and bees are very inflexible in the way that they cooperate. If they encounter a new situation, a new danger, a new opportunity, they cannot reinvent the social system, the way that they cooperate in the colony or in the beehive in order to face this new challenge. So they cooperate in very large numbers, but in a rigid way. Other social animals, like the chimpanzees, like the dolphins, like the elephants, they can cooperate in a much more flexible way. However, they do so only in small numbers, because cooperation among them is based on intimate knowledge. I have to know the other chimpanzee in order to cooperate with him or her. I cannot cooperate with strangers. Homo sapiens, the really unique thing about our species is the ability to combine both these things, to cooperate in large numbers, far larger than the ants and the bees, and to do it flexibly. So this is the real secret of success of our story, of our species, We are the only animal that can cooperate flexibly in large numbers. And this is the basis for the immense power that political networks of humans gain, that economic system, trade system, of religions, of churches, of all the various things that humans have managed to accomplish during their history are not the accomplishment of a single individual, but they are always the accomplishment of a network of cooperation of many different individuals, and in particularly many strangers. Take even this lecture as an example. What's happening now in this hall cannot happen with chimpanzees. Chimpanzees never give lectures to strangers. Now, if you take, say, maybe there are 100 people here in the room now, if you cram together 100 chimpanzees who never met before, you will get chaos. But with people, you can get an event like this, an intellectual exchange. I don't know most of the people here in the room, and you don't really know me, and many of you probably don't know each other, and nevertheless, we can cooperate in a very orderly manner to create this event, this intellectual exchange. Now, cooperation is not always nice. Sometimes when people say cooperation, they think about Sesame Street and how to teach children to cooperate with one another, and it sounds very, very, very nice. But cooperation is also the basis for all the horrible things that humans have been doing, are doing. Prisons are also a system of cooperation between strangers, and so are armies and arms factories and concentration camps. These are all based on the same thing, on large-scale cooperation between strangers. So it's not always nice.
To most of us, Labor Day means time off from work, maybe a barbecue to mark the official end of summer. But how much do you know about what inspired its creation? The labor movement. The labor movement started around the Industrial Revolution, a time in the late 19th century when America exploded in size and wealth. Advances in technology created manufacturing jobs, and people moved to cities to work in factories. But it wasn't the workers getting rich. It was their bosses who raked in big profits by paying low wages for long hours. Fed up with big business, industrial workers created unions to fight for better conditions. Unions are the backbone of the labor movement. But what exactly did they accomplish? Well, for one, you can thank the labor movement for your work-free weekend. In the late 1800s, the average American worked as much as 100 hours a week. Unions held strikes to demand shorter work weeks and an 8-hour workday to make time for family and relaxation. The most famous strike, the Haymarket Riots, happened in Chicago on May 1st, 1886, with thousands of people taking to the streets, and their voices only grew louder from there. The labor movement also protested child labor. Remember those black and white photos of children with dirty, sad faces wearing overalls and beanie caps? Those kids weren't playing outside, but they were working in factories. In 1881, unions demanded that businesses stop hiring kids under 14. And slowly but surely, measures against child labor caught on around the country. Eventually, all those protests got results. In 1938, Congress passed a law called the Fair Labor Standards Act, which set the 40-hour work week, regulated child labor, and set standards for minimum wage and overtime pay. In the 1930s and 1940s, workers were also able to negotiate health benefit plans from their employers. Though union membership is on a decline today, it's undeniable that the labor movement forever changed the way Americans live, work, and even relax.
Young people in large numbers came out and joined what became known as the Red Guards. These largely terroristic organizations were used to publicly humiliate, assault, and in some cases, even murder political enemies of Mao and the Communist Party.
For us to talk of India, you will not have words to describe about history of India, geography of India. To my mind, India is a blessed country, blessed by nature, by Almighty, giving birth to a personality like Mahatma Gandhi, who brought this country freedom from British rule. He created a movement of people dreaming India to be a free country. He used techniques which were not used by anybody in the past, like non-violence, self-discipline, civil disobedience to bring about a bloodless revolution. This brought freedom to this country. There will not be another Mahatma in this world. All the years after independence, democracy prevailed undisputedly in this country, the largest democracy in the world. The country has seen ups and downs, steady growth and recession. It has also seen war and experienced emergency curbing the liberty of the citizens. The country has faced terrorism for no fault of it. The country was divided into different states on the basis of language, but stayed together in a federal structure. And we looked for a new India, a united India, a strong India. The leadership of the country has gone through the hands of great personalities like Pandit Nehru, Srimati Indira Gandhi, a modernist Rajiv Gandhi, a reformist Dr. Manmohan Singh, and also for a change, a non-Congress led government by Sri Atalji Vajpayee. It also saw the Jayaprakash Narayan's People's Movement for a change. With some of the strong fundamentals, this country moved forward step by step and developed prominence across the globe, particularly in the Asian countries. Today, India is on the threshold of taking a leap, looking for a government formation in the coming elections of 2014. Also looking at the dream of APJ Abdul Kalam of a modern India in 2020. Let us go back to the midnight hour when we became independent and Pandit Nehru unfolded his vision of free India when the world was sleeping.
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
And Parel, areas of central Mumbai once synonymous with textile mills. Today just decrepit old buildings that are slowly turning into malls, multiplexes and high-rises like the ones that you see behind me. And lost behind that glitzy face, the stories of the struggles of Mumbai's 2.5 lakh mill workers on strike since 28 years. Janardhan Deshmukh, once a worker at the Kohinoor mills, struck work with employees of 83 mills in 1982. Protesting the bonus cut and demanding better wages. He didn't once imagine there would be no job to go back to. The stories of Dattaram and many others will now be seen in Mahesh Manjrekar's film City of Gold.
मजदूर भूखे मर जाएंगे, लेकिन इनके साथ बातचीत नहीं करेंगे।
हम नरमी से पेश आएंगे तो वर्कर्स सर चढ़ जाएंगे।
The mill workers hope that highlighting their struggle will have some positive impact.
person was killed and 40 others were injured in a scuffle that broke out between managers and workers at Maruti's Manesar plant. Automobile giant Maruti has issued a statement saying that the violence broke out after one of the workers indulged in arson. But the workers claim that the manager made derogatory remarks. Here's a report.
The aftermath of what became a bloody battle inside Maruti's Manesar plant. No stranger to altercations, the fight that broke out on Wednesday afternoon ended in the death of one worker. The management now claims the workers indulged in arson. But the workers claim a derogatory remark from one of the managers is what provoked them. Trouble stares the automobile giant in the face once again. Just last year, Maruti lost more than $500 million after workers refused to show up for work, claiming a violation of their basic rights. How will the management now emerge from this latest crisis remains to be seen.
If India has to look for the growth story to continue towards a two-digit GDP, there are a number of challenges before this country, such as development of industry, employment for masses, stability of government, reducing fiscal deficit, second economic reforms. Beside this, there are many. The industry is spreading its wings through new sectors like banking, insurance, entertainment, and so on. In this entire India's growth story, labor movement has found a prominent place. Politics has prevailed over economics many a times, thus creating hurdles for economic growth. Sporadic incidents of violence has hit the industry. Disturbance of strikes and lockouts have ultimately left a question mark over faith of management on workers. Even it is doctors, teachers, professors, railwaymen, pilots, nurses, everybody has reacted for the grievances. In this background, can we see labor contributing positively? The way forward is flexibility in work culture, mobility in work practices, multi-skilling, multitasking, and building industrial relations. The big question today, which needs deliberation, is building next generation leaders in industrial relations. The conference aims to dwell deep into the spirit of management to find answers to make this country a powerful nation in the world.
The early half of the 20th century saw a rapid rise in labor union membership, but today, only about 1/8 of American workers belong to them. What happened to the American Union? Labor unions began as a way for the common worker to achieve collective bargaining power against employers for higher wages, safer conditions, and better hours. Some unions, such as the Industrial Workers of the World, were focused not only on those goals, but also in creating a united working class. Others, known as bread and butter unions, were solely focused on achieving better conditions.
Picket lines around 100 plants.
A union's collective power was often enforced in the form of a strike, a practice still common today among public school teachers and transportation workers. Workers would band together and agree not to work until employers gave in to their demands. In the early days, these strikes could turn into violent riots. Today, most unions settle conditions directly with the companies. Through striking and negotiating, unions were able to achieve many victories for its workers. Today, sectors like public education and auto industries are heavily unionized, but many other private sector jobs no longer have a large union influence. One possible reason is government action. Certain labor laws have made unions seem less necessary. For instance, with passage of the Occupational Safety and Health Act, workers no longer needed to depend on unions to report unsafe conditions. Meanwhile, other laws have limited what unions can do. The Taft-Hartley Act of 1947 placed restrictions on certain union bargaining tactics, like striking. Many companies also offer benefits that were once traditionally brought about by unions, such as pension. The decline of unions may also be tied to larger changes in the global economy. Some industries have seen jobs move overseas or be replaced by automation, and with that came the loss of many unionized jobs. Attitudes towards unions may have also contributed to their decline. Many people began to think that unions were economically inefficient and that they hindered growth. And unionized labor that requires higher pay pushed companies to find work elsewhere to stay competitive. But that doesn't mean unions are no longer influential. Organized labor recently helped raise the stagnant minimum wage in several cities. Whether unions will disappear or make a comeback, their influence on the American workforce will carry on for years to come.
What we're seeing from them is this constant war against unions, a constant attack on working Americans by weakening worker protections, undermining workplace safety, gutting your ability to save for retirement, preventing you from forming a union. I mean, this is a party that says it wants to rebrand itself. I'm going to quote them here. They said they want to be the party of the American worker and the party of higher wages. Well, that's great. But think about it. They oppose raising the minimum wage. They're doing everything they can to bust unions. And then they want to claim to be the party of the American worker. Take a look at some of the folks who want to be their standard bearer in the next election. I won't say their names, but you can kind of attach the quote to their names. So one candidate, he is bragging about how he destroyed collective bargaining rights in his state. And says that busting unions prepares him to fight ISIL. I didn't make that up. That's what he said. Really? A whole bunch of them are hoping to make right to work the law of the land. They think that's the answer to economic prosperity. You had one who blamed unions for the women's pay gap. Think about that. So if there were no unions, then suddenly women are all going to be paid equal? These are the same folks who fought against equal pay legislation in Congress. And then there was the guy, these guys are running for office. They're running for the presidency, who said a union deserves a punch in the face. Really? Tell me how you really feel. It reminds me of something our old friend Ted Kennedy used to say. What is it about working men and women that they find so offensive? Why are they so mad about folks just trying to make a living, keep a roof over their heads, go to work every day, look after their families, rebuild their community? Why are you mad about that? These are the folks who built America. These are the folks that allowed businesses to prosper. Why are you attacking ordinary people who are just out there trying to do their jobs. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If I were looking for a good job that lets me build some security for my family, I'd join a union. If I wanted somebody who had my back, I'd join a union. I travel a lot. I've been to countries that don't have unions, that prohibit unions. That's where you've got still child labor. That's where you have terrible exploitation and workers are constantly being injured and hurt and there are no protections. And that's true for everybody because there's no union movement. Even Brady's happy he's got a union. They had his back. So you know, if Brady needs a union, we definitely need unions.
Hi, how was your day?
Not that nice here. There was a dispute in the office.
Oh why? अब की हो गया? फिर से बॉस से गाली पड़ी या रवीना ने बात नहीं की?
हाँ, अबे चुप रहे. Not funny. Some labor issue related to the trade union, and as a manager, I was stuck into that.
है? अब ये कौन सी नई बला है? पहली बार नाम सुना. What did you say? Trade union.
Oh, you don't know that? Wait, I'll explain you. But पहले let's go back to the history to know कि ये बना क्यों था.
Yes, चलो चलो, आइए सुनिए कहानी.
अबे ओए चुप कर. I am telling the story, not you. Nonsense. Now listen carefully. बहुत साल पहले की बात है. During the rule of Britishers, a lot of textile mills were set up at Madras, Bombay, Surat and Calcutta. A boom came in the textile industry in late 19th century, which led to massive recruitment in these mills, giving rise to the need for a regulating law. अब फिर ये अंग्रेजों ने enact किया Factories Act 1881, which laid down some strict laws favoring owners over the workers. Then came the First World War. These textile mills faced a lot of workload and working conditions deteriorated. बद से बदतर होती चली गई. This gave birth to trade unions in India. So to understand what a trade union is, let's refer to the Trade Unions Act. Under Section 2H, trade unions means combination, whether temporary or permanent, formed primarily for the purpose of regulating the relations between workmen and employers, workmen and workmen, employers and employers.
वाह, this is simply awesome. चलो आज से मेरा भी ट्रेड यूनियन. बोलो तोता ट्रेड यूनियन की जाए.
अबे तू पोपट है क्या गधा? You need 7 members for forming a trade union, you idiot.
मुझे क्या पता था. अच्छा चलो एक शायरी सुनाता हूँ. जैसे हफ्ते में 7 दिन होते हैं, इंद्रधनुष के 7 रंग होते हैं, वैलेंटाइंस वीक में भी 7 दिन होते हैं, वैसे ही ट्रेड यूनियंस के लिए भी 7 मेंबर्स की जरूरत होती है. वाह वाह, बजाओ तालियां.
ज्यादा बोला तेरा सर बजा दूंगा.
अच्छा टेल मी, व्हाट डू दिस ट्रेड यूनियंस डू? एज इन इनके फंक्शंस क्या हैं?
Oh, ऐसा? Then listen. Functions and role of trade unions are as follows: to improve working and living conditions, to secure fair wages for workers, to enlarge opportunities for promotion and training, to promote individual and collective welfare, to provide for educational, cultural and recreational facilities, to safeguard security of tenure and improve working conditions of service, to promote identity of interest of the workers with their industry.
ओ ऐसा? अच्छा टेल मी द नेम्स ऑफ फ्यू ऑफ ट्रेड यूनियंस इन इंडिया एंड देखना कुछ दिनों बाद मेरा भी आएगा तोता ट्रेड यूनियन.
हो गया तेरा? अब बोलूं मैं. Some of the prominent trade unions in India are INTUC, Indian National Trade Union Congress, AITUC, All India Trade Union Congress, CITU, Center of Indian Trade Unions, TUCC, Trade Union Congress Committee. अच्छा, tell me what will you do by forming a trade union? तेरा कोई employer तो है नहीं.
एम्प्लॉयर क्यों चाहिए?
Why do you think trade unions are made? So that employees can keep their demands and grievances to their employers.
हाँ, कुछ समझ नहीं आया.
चल, मैं तुझे एक केस स्टडी से समझाता हूँ. Before understanding the case, let's understand what collective bargaining is. It's a negotiation between employers and employees. But employees इतने सारे होते हैं कि they cannot go and talk to an employer. So a unit represents them, and this unit is known as trade union. What does a trade union do? It represents the demands, grievances of the employees to the employers, and ultimately both the parties come on to a conclusion. मैंने तुझे अब ये तो समझा दिया है. Now let's go to the Hotel Oberoi case study to understand exactly how things go. Let's talk about Hotel Oberoi. अब तुझे पता है होटल है तो वर्कर्स के इश्यू तो आने ही हैं. Employees were already taking 65 days of holidays, but management wanted to reduce these holidays by 15 days. Workers obviously opposed it, and they approached Maharashtra Samarth Kamgar Sangathan, that is MSKS. MSKS understood and negotiated with the management through collective bargaining. MSKS convinced the workers not to take 15 holidays. Instead, management pays 20 days salary in the month of December. Both the parties reached a conclusion. Thus, MSKS was successful in creating a win-win situation. तो बस फिर happy ending.
ओह, अब समझा. ये एक्ट तो बहुत काम का है. तो बोलो तोता ट्रेड यूनियन की जय.